So Rabbi David Fine contacted me earlier in the week. He lives in Modi'in. He's been in Israel, I think, for the last 18 years or so. And he runs a rabbinic training organization for Israeli Hebrew-speaking rabbis. And they have a project that is happening this Shabbos. And once we heard about it, we said, hey, we've got to get this on the air. The Shabbat is entitled Kel Na Refa Allah, from this week's parsha Ba'aloscha. They're asking rabbis and synagogues all over the world to raise awareness of and daven for injured soldiers. It has the support of many rabbis and groups all over the world. I'm glad to hear that. And it's very important for the future well-being of the injured. Yeah, I would imagine that that's true. Rabbi David Fine from the Holy Land, a pleasure to welcome you to JM in the AM.
Thank you so much, Nachum. It's a pleasure to be here.
We don't even understand. I'm not even talking about people here on this side of the world because we really don't get it. But even those in Israel who, for whatever reason are lucky enough not to be in that space, we don't realize just how many injured soldiers there are and how many of them became victims of the most recent war, obviously starting back on October 7th of 2023. For those like yourself who are familiar with that arena, is it an overwhelming situation? Are there just so many and we don't realize the impact that it's having on so many families in the Holy Land?
Right. So I happen to be very aware of the numbers and the issues because the rabbinic training program, which is called Barkai, which you mentioned at the beginning, we have trained over 100 rabbis all over Israel, and many of them have in their communities soldiers who have been injured. So there are probably at least over 20,000 injured, and there are probably many more that, for whatever reason, especially people who are mentally injured, let's put it that way, who don't want people to know and who don't get reported. But it's very overwhelming. And you're right. Even in Israel, sometimes the awareness is not enough. And it's interesting. I've been listening for the last few minutes, so I heard the Galei Tzahal, Eitan Lemberg, Hashem Yikom Damo, who was just buried. Yep. So the people who are the soldiers who are killed, chas v'shalom, or unfortunately, they're on the radio and as they should be, and people hear about them. But a lot of the hundreds of soldiers who have been injured over the past few weeks, months, whatever it may be, no one really knows about them, and they have to go on for weeks, months, and years, really, trying to get better, and it's really under the radar screen. And so what we're trying to do is raise awareness about this and to daven.
And that's the point of the entire Shabbat, right? The point of the entire Shabbat is to let people like us around the world, especially, again, outside of Israel, there's less awareness, understand the situation and sympathize somewhat for what our brothers and sisters are going through over there. And I would hope that, I don't know, the soldiers and their families, I would hope, if they knew that this was happening, and I assume a lot of them do know that it's happening, that they'd get some type of relief, some type of comfort from the fact that, Jews around the world actually are concerned and are dedicating time during services this Shabbat to keep them in mind and to pray for them.
When I tell some of the soldiers and their parents that Jews all over the world are praying for them, it literally brings tears to their eyes. Yeah. And it is of enormous help in a medical way, even. So it's, very, very important. And there are studies, by the way. I've been a rabbi for many years, so I know some of these things. There are studies that show that people get better even when they don't know that people are davening for them. It still has some kind of effect. So it's extremely important that it happen all the time. We're hoping that at least this Shabbos it will be emphasized in shuls around the world.
There are. Look, Shabbos is late. In this area, it starts in about 13 hours, so there's still time. Rabbis and community leaders who would like to participate and really gain from all the material that you've released and made available to rabbis. I assume they can still do that before Shabbos. These days, everything's online. What will you say now to those who are tuned in who want to have a role in this very special Shabbat?
I will just say that, unfortunately, it's not all online because this was supposed to be a guide for rabbis. And so I sent it in rabbinic channels and WhatsApp groups and on, the RCA listserv and all that. But so many people found out about it, and sort of that ship has sailed. So while it's not online, I would be very happy to send anyone a copy of the 26-page booklet that we made with materials, including activities for families and for children and for youth. All you need to do is write to me, email me at Rabbi Fine, RABBIFINE, at Israel Rabbis, that's one word, ISRAEL, rabbis.org. And I'd be very happy to send. But even if you don't have our material, there's enough chomer, there's enough material in our Mesorah to daven for people who need it. And even if people at the Mishaberach for the Cholim, which I assume most shuls say, if people could just make, especially this Shabbos, just to make it a little bit more pronounced that we're davening for our brothers and sisters in Israel, because, like you said, unfortunately, even in Israel, it's sometimes forgotten about. And I'll just end with one of our rabbis in Barkai from Ofakim. His name is Harav Shachar Butzchak. He actually fought with terrorists on the morning of October 7th, and he was very badly injured in his leg. Actually, the terrorist that was shooting him, or that shot him, was wearing an IDF uniform. So even though Harav Shachar knew that it was a terrorist, he hesitated for a split second because he couldn't shoot somebody who was wearing an IDF uniform, and that was on October 7th, and he is still, while he's doing well and speaking and rabbiing and all that, he still is suffering and is an enormous amount of pain almost all the time. So he's just one example, but there are, like I said, over 20,000, and they're injured soldiers from previous wars. So we ask everyone to just really, be noseh b'ol chavero, and to just think about everything that's going on, and to pause and to remember and to daven.
Wow. Rabbi Fine, you just gave us in what you just said, you gave us a piece of practical advice. I know that this is mundane compared to the bigger picture, but there are synagogues that, know of lists and lists that continue to be published of soldiers who are injured who need our prayers. For some shuls, that might be impractical to actually recite each name as they're conducting the Mishaberach for those who are ill. But as you just said, even a general statement about those who've been injured, in the most recent war, or those who have been injured in, terrorist attacks and serving in the Israeli army would be extremely beneficial, because it would remind everybody in the shul that this is a significant group that we're praying for. So I think that's a good piece of practical advice.
I'll just say, based on what you just said, that I send out a list of seriously injured soldiers every week to a lot of my rabbinic colleagues in America. Thank God, Baruch Hashem, B'li Ayin Hara, it's only around 20 to 30 soldiers every week, meaning obviously that's tragic, but right. It could be a lot more than that. But if anyone is, 20 names could be said, so every Shabbat. So obviously those are only the seriously injured and recently seriously injured. But if anyone wants to get on my list, they're more than welcome to contact me. Again, Rabbi Fine at israelrabbis.org.
Rabbi Kol HaKavod, what can I say? It's really an overwhelming conversation because we don't realize what's going on over there and just how devoted the soldiers are and the price that they're willing to pay to support and to defend the people of Israel, the state of Israel, and the land of Israel. And this is a very, very important reminder about that. So Thank
you. And just a personal note, people could daven for my son who's in Gaza as we speak. So I'd appreciate that as well.
Wow. Kol HaKavod, Rabbi Fine. Have a Shabbat Shalom, and I hope it's a very...
Thank you, Nachum. It's really a pleasure. Have a great Shabbos, and everyone should daven hard. Kel na Rafan Allah. Thank you.
Yeah, Kel na Rafan Allah is right. Maybe we should do the Mishaberach this week at that Aliyah instead of waiting for the end of laning. Maybe we should do the Mishaberach for those who are ill and right either before or right after that Aliyah. Bring even more awareness to the project. You can reach Rabbi Fine at israelrabbis.org. Rabbi Fine, Fine, at israelrabbis.org.